Hello mathematicians, here we are again taking a look at writing and solving division equations. We are going to be looking at chapter 7, lesson 5. So your book needs to be open to 562, and we're just going to go ahead and just jump right in and get started because this is just again another added piece into the adding, subtracting, and multiplying equations that we have already learned. So now we're just dividing. So get yourself set up while I get myself set up, and here we go. Okay, so taking a look at division. Again, remember that the object or the algorithm to solve an equation is to get that variable by itself, which means we have to get that x alone or t or whatever variable they're using to get it by itself. So if we're dividing, remember we're going to do the inverse operation. If we're dividing, the opposite operation of division is multiplication. So now we're going to be multiplying. So we're just going to jump right in down to a couple of these examples. And so we're going to start with A. There's not a bunch of room, so I'm going to rewrite the problems up here. And again, we're going to write solve and check. So solve, check. And since this is nothing new, and this is just practice now except with division problems, we're just going to jump right in. So the first one is x divided by 8 equals 9. So we're going to write over here, x divided by 8 equals 9. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, since the opposite of division is multiplication, I'm taking x and dividing it by 8. So the opposite operation of dividing by 8 would be multiplying by 8. Now watch how I write this. I'm going to write it in parentheses right next to them. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Remember when we have a parentheses and we have numbers right next to our parentheses, that means we're multiplying. So my multiplying 8 divided by 8 leaves me with my 1x. Now I'm going to multiply my 9 times 8, which leaves me with 72. So now I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to check it. I'm going to replace my x with 72. So I have 72 divided by 8 equals 9. Now 72 divided by 8 I know equals 9. Therefore 9 equals 9, which shows that we have solved the problem correctly. So we got 9 equals 9, which our answer was x equals 72. All right, let's take a look at B. So we're going to do solve. And do our t-chart and check. And our problem is y divided by 4 equals 8. We're going to do it on both sides of the equations. Y divided by 4, or not sides of the equation, sides of the t-chart, equals 8. So if I'm dividing y by 4, the inverse operation of dividing is going to be multiplying. So I'm going to show that I multiply each side by 4. Multiplying and dividing by 4 cancels out to leave me with 1y. I have 8 times 4, which is 32. Therefore, we think that the answer is 32. I'm going to come over and check this. 32 divided by 4 equals 8. 32 divided by 4 equals 8. Does 8 equal 8? Check yes. Okay, let's take a look at C. We're going to do C over on this side. Over here. It's not moving like I want it to. Oh, there we go. Okay. So C, so solve and check, and C is m divided by 5 equals 9, m divided by 5 equals 9. So if I know that I'm dividing by 5, the inverse operation of dividing by 5 is multiplying by 5. Remember, we want to get that variable by itself. When I multiply and divide by 5, that cancels out and leaves me with 1m. 9 times 5 is 45, therefore we believe that our variable is 45. So now I take 45 and I divide it by 5. I replace my variable. 45 divided by 5 equals 9. 9 divided by 9, check. Okay. Now let's take a look at this next one. Down below, let's do solve. Ooh, that's really big. Let's make that smaller. There we go. Maybe? Maybe it's not going to like me. No, maybe not. I don't know, it's like frozen. There we go. Okay, so solve and check. And I'm going to go ahead and write 30 equals b divided by 2. Again, oops, it doesn't matter what side that variable is on. It's whatever we are trying to get it by itself. So if I'm taking the variable and dividing it by 2, the opposite of that would be multiplying by 2. So we believe that b equals 60. So we're going to check it. 30 equals 60 divided by 2. I know 60 divided by 2 is 30. Does 30 equal 30? Check yes. All right, let's take a look at writing story problems that would go along with this. Okay, so here we are. It says Nathan picked a total of 60 apples. So therefore, if a total 60 apples, I'm going to do solve and check up here. We know that on one side of the equation is going to be 60. So I'm going to go ahead and write that like this. Now we're going to figure out the rest of the half. Nathan picked a total of 60 apples in 1/3 of an hour, which means I'm going to be taking some number and dividing it by 1/3, or dividing it by 3. So I'm going to take apples and divide it by 3. Apples, and that's an A. Apples and divide it by 3. That's really sloppy. It looks like a 9. Apples and divide it by 3. All right, so now we're going to solve. It says write and solve a division equation to find out how many apples Nathan could pick in 1 hour. If I'm dividing by 3, the inverse operation of dividing by 3 would be multiplying by 3. This cancels out, and I'm left with just my variable. 60 times 3 is 90. I'm sorry, not 90. 180 apples. So they are going to pick 180 apples. Now we're going to go back and we're going to check it, which means that we're going to replace our variable with the answer that we got over here, which we believe is 180 divided by 3 equals 60. If I take 180 and divide it by 3, I get 60. Does 60 equal 60? Check yes. That means we did the problem correctly. Okay? All right. Moving on. Let's take a look at the next page and let's do some examples together. Okay, we are going to take a look at, there we go, we're going to take a look at number 1. So let's write solve and check. M divided by 6 equals 10. M divided by 6 equals 10. So if I'm dividing by 6, the inverse operation would be to multiply each side by 6. That cancels out and I'm left with just M. 6 times 10 is 60, so we believe that the answer is 60. So now we're going to check it by replacing the variable with 60. 60 divided by 6 equals 10. 10 equals 10. Check yes. Okay? All right, let's take a look at 3. Write our solve and our check. We have V divided by 13 equals 14. V divided by 13 equals 14. This is when a calculator is going to come in handy because we know that we're going to have to multiply both sides by 13. This cancels out. We're left with just V. And then we're going to take 14 times 13, which is going to give us 182. Okay, when you actually do the math, like on your calculator. 182 divided by 13 equals 14. When I take 182 and divide it by 13, I'm going to get 14. 14 equals 14. Check. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do this problem together, and then that's going to be it. So here we are. It says, Carrie and Taya are sharing a pack of stickers. Each girl gets 11 stickers. Write and solve a division equation to find out how many total stickers there are. So you're taking the number of stickers and dividing it by 2 people, and we know that there's a total of 11, or a total that 11 each, okay? But we are writing a division equation. So in order to solve this problem, we're going to multiply both sides by 2. That leaves us with A equals 22. which would make sense. Now think about it. Carrie gets 11, Taya gets 11. 11 plus 11 is 22, so we would have an answer of 22 stickers. All right. I think that that is good after you have already gone through addition, subtraction, and multiplication. Now we've just added division equations, and you should be good to go on the start of getting to know algebra and the algebra basics.